Hey guys, it's me. It's Queen Asa Haru, and I'm here today with another exciting edition of Ask An Aquarius. Okay, so I was talking to one of the subscribers, yesterday, and she called me. She wanted a reading, so I was giving her a reading. And at the end of the reading, she said, "By the way, who is Voldemort? What happened with Voldemort? What's the deal with Voldemort?" And I bust out laughing because I had forgot about it for a second. So I just started to laugh and I said, okay, I'll tell the story. I haven't told the Voldemort story. Okay. So here is the story. First of all, I call him Voldemort because one of the things you learn in magic and spirituality and energy work is that to call a person by their name is to validate them and to call their energy forward. When you want something to go away, especially from your own consciousness, you rename it. You rename it something else. So I called him Voldemort. I didn't at first. At first, I used his last name, and then I had another name for him. I used to call him Onyx, but it didn't really fit. And I was like, I need something that fits him. And Voldemort. It came to me one day. Now, anybody who watches Harry Potter will know why I chose Voldemort. Voldemort was said to be he who shall go unnamed. That's where it came from. Voldemort is from the Harry Potter series. I love the Harry Potter series. And one of the things in the series is this relationship between Harry and Voldemort. Voldemort is constantly trying to kill Harry, and he's evil and doing horrible things and encouraging other people to be evil and ruining lives and doing all kinds of stuff. And he's just an evil person. And this is how my Voldemort is. My Voldemort wasn't always evil. He became more disturbingly dark as time went on. He wasn't that dark when we were young. He's gotten darker over time. It's kind of gross. Okay, so who is Voldemort? What the heck happened? Okay, so it's hard for me to tell my story without talking about Voldemort. Only because that was the moment of my evolution. My evolution started because of this negative situation with this gentleman. So one of the things I would like to be able to do, I said to somebody once, I don't ever want to speak of him again. But it's almost impossible to tell my evolution without that part of the story. So to call him Voldemort helps me a lot. Plus it keeps him from being able to sue me, because if I used his name, he would definitely sue me for defamation of character. He would love to do that. Anyway, so here's the Voldemort story. I used to work at this place, and at the time, I had stopped seeing men. I hadn't been seeing men for years by the time I came across Voldemort. I think I had stopped when I was like 21 or 22, and this was like about 5 years later. So Voldemort worked at my job, and we were friends. Not because I wanted to be his friend, but because we were always working the same shift. And you guys know how that is. You work in the same shift with somebody, y'all start to talk. So we would talk all the time. I was living with a woman. He was living with a woman. I didn't really think much of it because I really wasn't interested in men. So we talked. We were friendly. We would chat sometimes because he worked nights, and we would chat sometimes. So I didn't really think much of it. Didn't think much of it at all. I did think he was attractive, though. He is very attractive to me. So I did think he was attractive, but I really didn't. A lot of men are attractive. I'm gay, not blind, So it really didn't touch me at all. So we were friends. We would chat. We would eat. We would, hang out at the job and stuff. It was really fun. It was cool. After a year of that, now mind you, this whole time he doesn't have my phone number. We only talk at work. After a year of that, one day he said, "Let me call you back." Now, mind you, every other time when he said, "Let me call you back," I would say, "Oh, it's cool. I'll call you back." Okay? I don't like men having my number, It's no point. So I said, "Let me call you back." But this one particular time, I was like, okay, call me back. It was a year later. I gave him the number. He called me back. We kept chatting. So we would chat all the time. Voldemort likes to talk. I like to talk. We would always chat. So then, slowly but surely, our relationship got closer and closer as the friendship is concerned. Now, I always thought he was plotting from back deep. That's my personal opinion. He said he wasn't plotting from back deep. I was plotting from back deep. But truth be told is that I really wasn't plotting because I really didn't want him. I thought he was a nice guy. I liked the friendship, but that was really it. I really, my head was all over the place. I was trying to figure out my life. So anyway, time progressed, and in a matter of minutes, we went from being friends to being in a situationship. It was minutes. He came over my house one day and dropped something off. Didn't think nothing of it. Came over my house about a week later, and we're hanging out, we're drinking, we're talking, and the next thing I know, we're being intimate. Boom, boom, boom. Real fast. It was like quick, So I knew it was a bad idea. We were both in relationships. Knew it was a bad idea. But my relationship was not good. I couldn't wait for her to move out. Me and her were going through so many changes, and we were breaking up and getting back together. It was not going good. And we were living at my home, and we were going back and forth. So it wasn't going very well. And I think I was lonely, really. And I started to, see Voldemort, have situationship with Voldemort. So me and Voldemort had a situationship for a long time, and I fell in love with Voldemort, the only person I've ever been in love with. And whenever I was with him, I felt uneasy because I knew it wasn't right. You got a woman at home. I'm living with somebody sometimes. I just knew it wasn't right. So my stomach, I would always tell him my stomach hurts. It was just tension, and anxiety. It would just. But I kept seeing him because I was lonely and because I liked his attention, So I kept seeing him. I fell in love with him, and it was just bad business. So after being in this situation for a while, him playing emotional games, mind games, doing whatever he was doing, and me playing back with him, playing with him, us both being very wounded individuals, very negative energy, you got love, you got sex, you got negativity, you got back and forth, you got infidelity, you got lies, deception, treachery. He's deceiving her, I'm helping him deceive her. The woman I was with, I ended up putting out because I just got tired of her, period. So it was just all this negative energy all swirled around. But what I wanted from the situation was I wanted to change it. I wanted to make it positive. I wanted us to stop doing what we were doing, come together in a real relationship, and move forward. I wanted to have a family with Voldemort. I was in love with Voldemort. And I wasn't noticing at the time, y'all don't really match. Y'all don't really belong together, So, Voldemort wanted to play the field. Voldemort wanted to, do whatever Voldemort wanted to do. And I decided after 2 years of going through this back and forth that it wasn't going anywhere. And if it could go somewhere, it really shouldn't. I was in love with somebody, and I just knew, and it was painful. So I told myself, after fighting with him and trying to get him to see my point of view and this, that, and the third, I finally realized, this isn't for you. It's not going nowhere, and it's just not for you. So I left him. I had already walked away from him several times. I'm the queen of that. I had left him for 3 months, 4 months. I'd walk away and come back, things like that. And finally, I just left for good, and I blocked him on everything. We had a lot of fights. His girl found out about us. That was a fight. It was a lot of negative energy that we all were engaged in. And then finally, at the end, everything just went quiet. Just got so quiet. And I blocked him on everything. But I never stopped loving him. It's always been there. And over the years between that happening, because mind you, this was like 14 years ago. So over the years, we would come across each other and we would have an affair for a little while. And then it would go south again because it always goes back to the same thing is that we don't belong together and we're not compatible. And Voldemort has a lot of problems with being emotionally and mentally abusive. He plays a lot of games, and he tries to gaslight, tell me what I think is not true, what I know when I'm sitting there. He's very never could be. I'm not even gonna call him unfaithful because we didn't have a relationship to be faithful with each other too. But there was always another woman. There was always somebody else. There was always gonna be that way. That's just who he is. So we would come together for a couple of days, literally, and then he would spaz out about the past, or he would do something stupid. He got the thickest head in the world. He would get mad at me for something dumb. Like the last time I spoke to him, he was mad at me because of my feminist agenda, and I'm like, really? It's always something. It's always something stupid, though. And then I get angry. True Aquarius fashion, I get pissed and I'm just like, I don't have to deal with you. I don't even know you. So that went on for a number of years. And then about I think it was 5 years ago, we came across each other. And normally we would have this affair and then it would fizzle out. But this time I saw him and he came over my house and I just felt so much bad energy coming from him. Like worse than ever. Like to the point where I often wonder if there's a demon on him. Seriously. Because the way that he is and the way he tries to, like, what he'll do is he'll come around. He'll be so cool. He'll be so kind. He'll be so affirming. He'll be really, great. We'll laugh. We'll joke. We'll talk. Everything will go well. And then he'll start with the bashing. He'll start putting me down. He'll start being cruel. He'll start that. And I'm like, is that the demon working on you? Because that's what it really feels like to me. So he'll start that. And then as soon as he starts that, I'm like, whoo, emotional abuse alert, and disappear. I give some tear-filled goodbye in my normal dramatic Aquarius fashion, some poem. Usually I'll write him a poem about how he's fucked up or something like that, and I'll step off. But that last time, 5 years ago, I realized that we have nothing, friendship, nothing that can come from this situation. We're totally different people, and there's something bad on this brother. Bottom line, there's something bad there. There's something hurt, bitterness, demonic. There's something there, and I just can't be around it. An abusive person, you just can't be around. If they're going to keep on being abusive, what can you do? You know. So that was what happened. So I never saw him again. I refused. I just refused. I would not let myself see him again. And then after I moved here to Costa Rica, I spoke to him one time. I was in a bar and I was having a good time and I felt him. Sometimes, I feel him. Like, sometimes you are emotionally or spiritually attached to a person. And sometimes it's not because you belong with them. A lot of times it's not because you belong with them. A lot of times it's because of the fact that they are a life lesson. Some of our quote unquote soulmates are life lessons. They're not life partners. And some of us, they make that mistake because we're like, I feel this person. Like, I feel a connection. Some people come to me and they'll say, I really feel a connection with this person. And I'm like, because that person is one of your life lessons. You're not supposed to be with them. You're supposed to learn what you learned and move on. And that's Voldemort and me. So I was in the bar and I felt him strongly. It was like, I could smell him. I could feel him. It was like strong. So I came home and I called them or inboxed them or whatever. And I was like, I feel you and I feel something on you. Like, are you okay? And he was like, my one of my friends just died and, I wasn't there for her. He had some feelings about it. And we talked about it and it went fine. We had a conversation about it. I was compassionate. He was dealing with what he was dealing with and we moved on. We talked a few more times and then one day he just started the bullshit again. He just started the accusations, talking about the past. You did this, you did that. And I'm like, dude, this is 14 years ago. Like, are you serious? Like, we can't let this shit go. And I just got the point right then and there that we never going to be able to be friendly. It's nothing. So I wrote another tear-filled goodbye and went about my business. And then I went to do some emotional healing work around relationships, and I realized that I told myself, all the time that I've been away from him, I've always told myself that I can just love him from a distance. Okay. But when this happened a year ago, I realized I can't. I can't love him at all. Love is a verb. And I told myself, you cannot love this person. So don't think of him. Don't think of the good times. When I literally, when he comes to my mind, I push it right out. When I dream about him, I used to dream about him. And sometimes I still dream about all kinds of stuff. And when I wake up from a dream, I don't even analyze dreams about him. I just totally push him out my mind. I don't call him by his name, and I just totally just keep pushing him. And I didn't do that ever before. I would allow myself to pray for him. I would allow myself to feel love and remember the good times and smile. I don't allow none of that no more. No more good times, no more smiling, no more feeling love, no more praying for him, nothing. He got to go do him far, far away, And that was the bottom line. So the point of this whole thing is that if it wasn't for that negative situation with Voldemort, because remember I told you guys when we broke up I fell apart. It wasn't like I just broke up and walked away. I did walk away, I did block him on everything, but I fell apart. I was in a very bad depression, and I was suicidal, and I just did not want to do this shit no more. I was just sick of it all, And if it wasn't for Voldemort pushing me over the edge like that, I would have never changed. Seriously. Because before that happened, I was on my treachery. I was on my Erica Kane. I was on my, I can do whatever I want. And that situation taught me, like, nah, you can't do whatever you want. There's consequences, to your behavior. There's karma to your behavior. And when that karma smacked me, it knocked the shit out of me. Seriously. And I was so depressed. I would come home from work and just cry. And I missed him. I missed us. But I knew that us wasn't good for me, And he didn't make it easy at all. He never does. He's never been understanding of any of the process. And, that's fine. He doesn't have to be understanding of my process. That's up to me to do, So, yeah, it was just bad. And if it wasn't for that, I never would have been hurting enough. I wouldn't have been destroyed enough. Like when I talked about Paul on the road to Damascus, Paul had to get knocked off that horse for him to change his life. I had to get knocked down to change. I needed a major transformation because I knew I needed to change before Voldemort. I knew that. I was always telling people, I know I need to walk this spiritual path. As a matter of fact, I had been to Africa. I even had the books that I used later to initiate to be a priestess. I already had them before Voldemort. I knew where all this needed to go, but I didn't want to do the work, to be honest with you, to change. I didn't want to do the work. I didn't want to stop lying. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I didn't want to do anything that I needed to do to be a better person. And getting hurt that badly, being emotionally abused, he played so many mind games, so many head games. To this day, I don't know if he cared about me or not. I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think it was just a game for him. And I'm okay with that because that's what I needed to change. If I needed to, have somebody run serious game on me to change, then that's what I needed, And it also was my karma, and I recognized that because I did some heinous stuff myself. I wasn't always the best person myself. So I'm like, okay, I understand all of this. So anyway, So this is what made me hurt so bad. And what happened was is that when I was hurting, I knew I had two choices. When you're in pain, you got two choices. You can productively do something to change, or you can unproductively do something to change. You can start shooting heroin, you can start smoking crack, you can start drinking liquor. When you're in that kind of pain, you can do that, or you can say, "Hey, I'm going to do something productive and change my life." And Goddess came to me, and like I told you guys, I had the dream. I was at the bottom of the ocean, and she grabbed me and pulled me out the ocean. And right then and there, I knew that I was going to do this productively, that I wanted to be out of pain, and I wanted it to be lasting, and I wanted to be a better person, and I had to do whatever I had to do to make it happen. So for all these years since that situation happened with Voldemort, I've been continuously working on myself, continuously working on healing, helping other people heal. That's been my mission, being a better person and healing myself and getting to a better space, you know. Um, and that's the situation with Voldemort. That's what happened. Voldemort came up about my life. I've always felt a very strong connection to Voldemort. It was simply because of the fact that I needed to change. So some of you out there are like, I get a lot of messages and people will be like, well, this person is my soul flame. They're my other half. And I'm like, well, soulmates aren't always supposed to be with you, right? You do know that sometimes soulmates come into your life to help you do something, to help you change, to help you grow, to help you learn something. They don't always come to be your life partner. Sometimes you feel a connection to a person and that's all it really is. And how can you tell the difference? Well, if the person is not good for you, if the relationship is dysfunctional and unhealthy like mine was with Voldemort, then you're not supposed to be with that person. You're supposed to learn from the lessons and get your butt out of there. Okay? And that's what the bottom line is. I hear that a lot from people, and they're like, well, I feel this connection. I love him so much. And I'm like, you preaching to the choir. I loved Voldemort with every ounce of my being. I've never loved that way before or since. But it was unhealthy, it was dysfunctional, and my love was not enough to make it into a relationship. We would need to love each other. We would need to have a shared set of goals. We would need to be on the same page. We would need to want the same things out of life. We have none of that. None of that. And on top of everything, he was constantly trying to control my mind, constantly trying to control my emotions, constantly playing games, constantly. It was nothing he said to me that what didn't revolve back to some part of his game. So, like I said before, when you realize you're in a situation like this, the only thing you can do is break away from it and figure out why you're there in the first place. I didn't come to this situation because of the fact, of no for no reason. I came to this situation because of who I was and I needed to change. This was a gift to me. And that's why I still tell the story, because it was a gift to me and now it's a gift to you. Because this is an illustration. It's a wonderful fable that I had to live through. And I feel like if I had to live through this, then it's going to help somebody. If I had to go through this, somebody's going to get help from this damn story. And, it's a wonderful, tale that can help other people hopefully not go through it. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, which some of you are from the things you've said to me, if you find yourself in a similar situation, get away from the person. Do not speak to them. Do not see them. Do not spend time with them like I did and made that mistake, because all that does is keep reopening the wound. Just heal from it and let it go. And if you love them like I love him, stop. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, how do you stop? I am making myself stop. I'm not saying I stopped. I'm done. I'm making myself stop. I'm making myself not speak to him. I'm making myself not talk to him. I'm making myself not dwell on happy moments. I'm making myself not do that. I'm not allowing myself to feel love. When the love comes up, I'm like, ooh, oh, mm-mm. And it does come up. It doesn't come up often anymore. Like in the past, 6 months, I haven't felt it. But when it does come up, I'm like, whoa, no, 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 no. Don't feel that. Let that go. Because like I said, I used to think it was okay to love him from a distance, but it's not. Because all that does is hold me in that energy and hold me in that space, you know? So it's time to let it go. It's time to release it. It's time to just stop. And when I do tell the story or talk, I don't really talk about him at all. I only tell the story when it's something like this, a video, or, I'm writing my book. So, of course, it's a part of the book, things along those lines, because it was really important. That soulmate relationship for me was really important because it is what caused me to be who I am today. So that's the situation with Voldemort. I fell in love with an evil person, basically, is the bottom line. And some of you have fallen in love with either, women and men. Some of you have fallen in love with some treacherous people too, And some of you are sitting there wondering, like, why do I feel such a connection to this person? Well, it's more than likely if they are abusive or if they're not the right person for you, it's because there's a lesson here. Learn the lesson and escape the person. And then work on yourself, to release that energy and to release that emotion. Okay, so that's the situation, and I hope the story helps somebody out there not go through it. I hope to God it helps somebody not go through it. Okay, so if you have your own real life Voldemorts, many of us do. Just like I said, let them go. Let them go forever. Don't turn back. Don't ever, ever turn back. Just go. Just run for the hills. Because one of these days you'll be free from that energy. And then you'll meet somebody who is meant to be your life partner. One day you will meet that energy after you've done the work that this lesson was meant to teach you. It's Queen All Set Haru. See you next time.